I had the good fortune of working with W. Clement Stone in the early 80s. Mr. Stone started Combined Insurance with $100 and he built it into a $1 billion international organization. And he attributed most of his success to having PMA, or positive mental attitude. Someone challenged him one time, if PMA is so good, why don't you teach prisoners how to have a positive attitude? So Mr. Stone took the challenge and he went into Cook County Jail and he started teaching a program called Guides for Better Living. And it was very successful and he started a company. And I got hired by him to be the director of workshops for the prison program. So I spent 4 years in jail and got out, and it was quite an interesting experience. But my direct boss was a vice president. And one day he comes into my office and he said, "Mr. Stone asked to see me. I think I'm going to get promoted to president." The president of our organization had just announced his retirement at the last board meeting, and Stone asked to see my boss. So he goes into that Mr. Stone's office, and about 3 hours later he comes back to me with one of the most peaceful looks I've ever seen on an individual's face. And I thought he was going to tell me he just got promoted to president. So I said, "Did you get it?" And he said, "Not exactly. Mr. Stone fired me today." And I said, "You're kidding." And he said, "No." I said, "But it was one of the greatest meetings I've ever had." And I said, "What happened?" And he said, "Well, he sat me in the room and he told me why he was going to terminate me. But he said, we are not leaving this room until we find an opportunity that is going to help you flourish." He told this individual that he had great talents and he had great strengths, but they just weren't designed for the position that he was in. About a month ago, I was working with another individual, a top performing salesperson for a pharmaceutical company. Her organization had announced a reduction in force, but she was assured that she was not going to lose her job. 3 months later, they eliminated her entire department, and she found herself unemployed. Now, we all have setbacks in life. We all have things that happen to us that are challenges. And when you do, you go through some specific emotions. There was a woman named Elizabeth Kubler-Ross who wrote a book called On Death and Dying, and she coined this term, Sarah. And it was the emotions that people go through when they get bad news. And the first is shock. When people get bad news, it's like shock. This can't be happening to me. This woman said to me, "This cannot be happening. I know people in this organization that are poor performers. They're not doing anything, and they got their job, and I didn't." They're just shocked. They think there's somehow or another there's a mistake. And then they move from shock to anger. Now they're mad. They're mad at their boss. They're mad at their company. They're mad at all those years and hours that they put in trying to do the right thing for their company and for their customers. And then they move to rejection. They just think it's not going to happen. They're not going to fulfill it. They're going to change their mind. I'm going to get better news. My manager's going to call me back and say they made a mistake. And you know, a lot of people just stop right there. They go from shock to anger to rejection, and they never get past rejection. But what Elizabeth Kubler-Ross found is that the people that can deal with bad news move on to the next level. And the next level is acceptance. It happened. How do I make the best of the situation? So you accept this, and then you move to the final phase, which is help. How can I help myself? Who can help me? What can we do to turn this around? Just like my boss, when I was working for W. Clement Stone, said it was one of the greatest days of his life, one of the greatest meetings that he ever had, getting fired. I honestly believe that you can make getting laid off or losing a job one of the best things that's ever happened to you. I know you can do it. It's like Henry Ford's old quote that said, "If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It all depends on your attitude and your action." I have a copy of the Serenity Prayer in my office. If you don't recall it or You've never heard of it. It's that prayer that says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think about that prayer often. I think about it during good times and bad times. What are the things that I can control? What are the things I can't? What are the actions I can take, and what are the actions that I can't take? Your assignment today is to reflect on the words of that prayer several times and to make a list and to literally write down, what are all the things that you can't change? What are all the things that you lost because of losing your job? Write them down and grieve. Feel sad, feel mad, and take as much time as you want. But when you're ready, I want you to take a moment and write down all the benefits that are going to come as a result of you losing this job. Write down all the advantages to you and to your family and to your friends that you're going to experience because you've lost this job. And not that you're just going to lose the job, but you're actually going to create the future. You're going to create the kind of future that is going to be better than the past. You can make this experience a positive one. Not by sitting back, not by waiting for something to change or somebody else to give you a job. You're going to make this experience better because of your actions, because of what you're going to do, because you choose to stay focused on the positives and make positive interpretations about things that happen in your life. So that's it for now. I'm Bill Durkin, and this is One Positive Place for JobBoxReport.com.